Hey guys, Freightner22 here, and I'm back with another batch of some Q reviews this week. As I said, this week's Q reviews is going to be a triple feature about characters in uncomfortable or unsettling environments. So the first film this week was the 1979 Paul Schrader-directed Hardcore. And this movie stars George C. Scott, and the story is about his daughter is a runaway, and she heads to Los Angeles. And as her father, George C. Scott, tries to find her, he slowly but surely learns that she's starring in X-rated porno films. So he heads to Los Angeles and teams up with some sleazy investigator played by Peter Boyle, I believe. Yeah, played by Peter Boyle. So they join forces in hopes to find their daughter, in hopes to find his daughter. So this movie I was really looking forward to seeing. I had heard a lot about it, and I really enjoy Paul Schrader's work. He worked with Scorsese, he wrote Taxi Driver, he's written American Gigolo and directed American Gigolo, he's also directed Cat People, and I've always just liked his work. I mean, he really captures the sleaziness and the grindhouse feel of that late 70s, early 80s era, but he does it in a way that's much more, I don't know how to explain. He's much more talented at capturing it. It's not just an amateur filmmaker. I mean, he was very up and coming at this time, but Paul Schrader he really understood that atmosphere at that time in history. So I think when you watch his films, whether he wrote or directed them, you really get a feeling like he knows what he's talking about. And, you know, although it's dealing with sleazy topics, it's dealing with them on a higher level than most other films at the time. So, I mean, as much as I was looking forward to this film, it kind of fell a little short of my expectations. I thought that it had captured the feeling of, you know, the sleazy strip in Los Angeles dealing with porno shops and adult shops, and I don't know, it just fell somewhat short for me. I had been a big fan of the movie 8mm, directed by Joel Schumacher, and I think after seeing this movie, you can easily see where 8mm took a lot of its inspiration from. So upon knowing that, I really wanted to see this for a long time, and it fell somewhat short of my expectations. I was expecting them to kind of go a little deeper into the seedy world of the adult entertainment business or on the strip and stuff, but it was just mainly George C. Scott going into porno houses and, you know, kind of running his mouth in hopes to get his daughter back. And I kind of wish they would have exploited that just a little bit more. Like I said, I really did want to see this, and overall, even though it did fall short of my expectations, I did enjoy it because it did capture that feeling really nicely. So, using the Netflix star system again, I give this 3 out of 5 stars. The next film that I had reviewed is the 1986 bizarre David Lynch-directed Blue Velvet. Now, this movie was really odd, as most David Lynch films are, and the story is about an innocent kid named played by Kyle MacLachlan, who comes home since his father is now hospitalized, and in the process he finds an ear in an open field and presents it to the police in hopes that they can find out where this ear or who it belonged to. And in the process of him giving the ear to the police, he becomes really intrigued with the idea of unraveling the murder mystery in the town. This film also co-stars Laura Dern and Dennis Hopper, who plays a kidnapping, helium-addicted criminal. And this movie was really bizarre, as I said, like most David Lynch films are, but it's, and I enjoy bizarre. I mean, as much as I thought Eraserhead was very bizarre, I respected it for the fact that you don't see films like that where a director gets just completely his undivided vision on the screen. So that's one thing I respect about Eraserhead, is that with that you are absolutely seeing 100% Lynch's vision. You're not seeing interference from a studio or producer, so that's really cool, because I feel in a lot of instances that's really rare that you get to see exactly what was going on in the director's head. So in Blue Velvet, you really get that Lynch quality, the really weirdness and the bizarreness of the town, and you know, on the surface, it looks like the suburbs and the town that Kyle MacLachlan and Laura Dern are living in are just the picture-perfect town, but lo and behold, there's just a lot of odd, bizarre things going on right underneath their noses, and I think that the interesting thing about that movie is that it makes a good social commentary in suburbs all over the place. I mean, I live in a suburb, and I think that, you know, there's a lot of, you know, I think when doors are shut, plenty of weird stuff goes on behind closed doors, but like I said about the film, the most appealing thing for me was the Dennis Hopper character. I thought that he was really interesting and bizarre, and he just stole a lot of scenes. He was really profane, and I think that you were legitimately frightened and freaked out when he came on screen. So that much about it I really did enjoy. But overall, the story just kind of fell flat for me. I think it dragged at times. So overall, it just wasn't keeping my attention up. I finished it completely, but it just, you know, definitely wasn't one of my favorite movies, although I would like to continue watching more of Lynch's films, because I think he has a lot of talent and a lot of interesting things to say, but Blue Velvet just didn't really do it for me, so I'd have to give this 2 out of 5 stars. And now the final film that I reviewed is 2005's Havoc, starring Anne Hathaway and Bijou Phillips. And this film is about two rich white girls living in the California area, and they become so bored and fed up with their picture-perfect lives. I mean, who wouldn't? You're rich. Why? How would you get sick of that? So they decide to escape into the Latino gang culture of LA. So they go there in hopes to join a Latino gang, and being really pressured and get really involved with that gang, so they get really converted into their ways and acting, forgetting about who they are and whatnot. So the story as it is was really intriguing, and I think that Anne Hathaway is one of the best working actresses today. I love her in just about everything she does, and this movie was, as much as the story seemed like it was interesting, it did fall kind of flat. I thought that the writing at times was pretty dodgy and forced. It was almost laughable at times, because I'm not in a Latino gang, and I don't really know how they talk, but I'm pretty sure that, you know, the way that they were presenting it wasn't as close as they could have gotten to what it really is like. So, as much as I was really excited to see this, I did think it fell flat, and it was just, it wasn't the best way to present the Latino gang culture, I don't think. But the one thing that I can say about Anne Hathaway's performance is that up at this point she was doing The Princess Diaries for Disney, the original and the sequel, so I think a film like this was absolutely the right direction to go, and after she did this, she moved on to other films like Brokeback Mountain. So this movie was a great stepping stone to her to enhance to that next stage in her career. So if for anything else, I think, for me to have a guy moment, there is nudity in this, where a really sleazy scene where in order for them to join the Latino gang, Anne Hathaway and Bijou Phillips need to roll dice, and whatever the number comes up, that's how many guys they need to sleep with. So that's actually kind of a dirty, dingy scene, and I just feel like the Latino gang would have been a little bit more violent with them. They just seemed a little too overly nice at times with them, a little too lenient with these white rich girls. And, although, like I said, it wasn't the best movie, it was still worthy of checking out, because it might whet a lot of people's appetites. So I'd have to give this movie 3 out of 5 stars. So overall, this wasn't the best week for Netflix reviews, but it certainly wasn't the worst. But that's what it is. So I hope that I just want to thank you guys for continuing to view me, and I just hope that more of you guys continue to subscribe, because I really enjoy doing these things. So to give you guys a sneak peek at what's coming next week, on September 3rd, it's going to be a Paul Verhoeven triple feature with 1990s Total Recall, 1995's Showgirls, and 2000's Hollow Man. So check back in next Thursday for the next batch of Q reviews. Thanks again for tuning in, guys.